welcome to the Kickflix podcast. Oh, yeah, your favorite.
Oh, we're not gonna do the count-in.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Fail.
Because I'm so like we got to do a tight hour, guys. We got to do a tight hour. I forgot.
We should observe the ancient ritual of traditional pre-fight donuts.
Yeah. Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it?
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this time?
Shut up!
Break, not hit back.
Silly Caucasian girl likes to play with samurai swords.
You will all refer to me by the name Betty.
I know Kung Fu.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
I said I don't want trouble.
Only a ninja can destroy a ninja.
Defeat does not exist in this dojo, does it? No, Sensei!
Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
All right, welcome to the Kickflix podcast. Your favorite podcast where you come to watch three people talk, debate, and review your favorite or not favorite martial arts movies. Today's martial art movie, as you can see by your listening device, is 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Turtle power. Turtle power.
I'm Neri Roundhouse. I am
full.
Neri Roundhouse Signs. With me, as always, is Mike Karate Chop Mercadal and Jeff Sidekick Mercancini.
Oh, sorry. I was just cleaning my Jose Canseco bat.
You paid money for that?
Nailed it.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about 1990s martial arts classic, I guess. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hit me with your IMDb, Mike.
The IMDb. So we have the I guess I'll start calling it the clinical description, because it is for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles emerge from the shadows to protect New York City from a gang of criminal ninjas. Now, perfect, succinct, nailed it. For the parents out there, parents' guide. Here we go. Sex and nudity? None. See, you can have successful movies without showing TNA, you know what I'm saying? Violence and gore. The Shredder punches Splinter in the face multiple times. Splinter gets some scars. Very upsetting. That is true. It is very upsetting. Splinter's owner is killed. Yes, Hamato Yoshi is dead.
And
a man beats up a teenager, but the boy lives. Does anybody die in this movie?
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah, right? No, nobody dies.
Nobody,
in this movie.
including the Shredder.
Including the Shredder. For the sequel.
Oops.
This is a long one. Okay, Raphael is jumped and beaten up on the rooftop of April's apartment, leading to being tossed through a skylight and being put in a coma for a portion of the film. He wakes up okay later, but the fight itself is very intense, and the uncertainty of his recovery could be scary for younger viewers. It's scary for older viewers too.
Yeah,
I genuinely, that's like the heart of the movie is
100%
when Raphael gets beat up. Profanity. 4 uses of hell and heck, 8 uses of damn. Someone counted.
Wow. 4 of those were in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Damn. Let's see. Frightening and intense scenes. There's a few, actually. Some emotional scenes. Correct. The end battle is very intense. Yes. All the fights. Yeah. The Shredder is very intimidating. Could frighten younger audiences. What? He's like a father figure. He's
right.
Yeah, come on.
Family, and he is the father.
Yeah. A fire starts in an apartment. Yeah. That is
actually technically it starts in an antique shop and then spreads to the fire department.
The fighting. I loved that whole setup. The Shredder's death is unsettling. Spoiler: he didn't die.
Not existent.
He didn't die though.
He didn't die.
No matter how much Casey Jones tried to commit murder,
it was an accident. He said, "Oops."
Oh, wow. Unless he gets the attorney from fucking Police Story, that guy's seen some serious time, bro. That guy.
When is the last time those switches were investigated for ease of use?
Oh man, but yeah, and the last one, Splinter takes some abuse from the Shredder may upset viewers. It upset me. Like, someone getting like he's at a certain point in this movie, you realize it's just a giant rat costume. You know, it's like whatever. But this movie is so much better. I think that people give it credit.
100%.
I'll give my 60-second review.
Your 60-second, yeah.
My 60-second review.
Wait, you got to give the tagline, and you got to give. What was the tagline?
Oh, 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles emerge from the shadows to protect.
No, that's the description. The tagline.
Oh yeah, we didn't.
Oh wait, yeah.
Party on, or whatever the fuck it was for this one.
Let's see. Okay, there's
Whoa,
6 of them.
Wow, what aggression was that?
No, I'm just saying whatever it was for. It had to be some crazy shit like get your pizza on or some shit. I don't know what the fuck.
No. Here we go. I'm gonna read them, but they're pretty quick. They're pretty straightforward. Heroes in a half shell.
Turtle power.
Lean, green, and on the screen. Yes, because they were on movies. They're
thank you for explaining that one, Mike.
The
listeners were confused. The listeners were like,
just in case you didn't know.
The benefit of the doubt of the confused. So who are we to insult someone who might have been confused that is kind enough to watch our program?
This is true.
And my favorite. This is, hey dude, this ain't no cartoon.
That's the one I remember from the poster.
And no is capitalized.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this. I genuinely remember going to the movie theater. I saw this as a kid in the theater. I remember going with my dad. This is my 60-second review, by the way. I remember going to see it, and I was like, that was so much different than there was no Technodrome. There was no Krang. The foot soldiers aren't robots. And I was like, I was genuinely a little confused as a kid when I went to go see it. And that's when I guess my brother told me that, no, it was a comic. But my brother has like a trade paperback of like the original run of the first
Kevin
Ninja
Eastman,
when they all had the red. They were all red. None of them didn't have the colors yet.
Yep.
And genuinely, like I remember like being as a kid, like kind of taken like out of the like rhythm of the movie, but also like being genuinely a little bored at the farm scenes, when they go to the farm. And then now as an adult, I'm like, this movie is great. This movie is fantastic. Elias Koteas, the guy who plays Casey Jones, who's in one of my favorite actors in the movie Fallen. Have you ever seen him in Fallen?
Oh, yes.
Awesome in that movie.
Yes.
Me and Jeff talk about the movie all the time.
I love that movie. Time was on your side.
When we did a comedy horror movie podcast, we would often talk about if we could add that movie because it was one of my
that movie favorites. And look, dude, the whatever, he's great in that movie. In this movie, when he's like genuinely like an engaging character, you're like, who the fuck is this crime fighting guy? He's like a love interest with Judith Hoag's April O'Neil. It was just like a great. It's so much better than I remember it as like a movie. I was like, this is a full fucking. It's not a kids movie. This is a movie and full of great fighting and cool action in the big fucking suits.
But do you remember that you just learned that now this time around watching it, that it's an actual movie, that it's actually a really good movie?
No. I was reminded of it because I've seen it as an adult since then.
Right.
But as a kid, I remember genuinely being like, this is not the cartoon. And then
it told you in the poster. This ain't no cartoon.
This ain't no cartoon.
So for my 60-second review, I've said this in our other chat for our other podcast when we've talked about these movies. Growing up, part 2 was my favorite as a kid. As an adult, part 1 is my favorite by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
You watch it, and especially now, I hadn't seen the first one since Nathan was born, my son. So watching it now as a father, it hit me even harder. I legit will argue that this is a fucking beautiful piece of cinema, this movie. Like that, I legit think that this is a fucking fantastic film that has heart, it has action. My favorite Ninja Turtle, I argue, is probably the best fighter in the movie, which is Michelangelo. I think him and Donatello were to me, the
Then he gets knocked unconscious. So I mean,
oh well,
you know what I mean? You're
I
right.
mean, there was also 50,000 people he was fighting, but like it.
If you're good, you know not to get into fights. You can't win.
Yeah. So the I enjoyed the fact that Leonardo actually uses his sword in this movie, like a sword. And then it since Michelangelo was my favorite growing up, and we'll talk about that, Mike. Well, because I see Mike's face already. Michelangelo growing up was always my favorite Ninja Turtle, and Donatello was always my favorite in the video games because he was broken. So seeing the two of them, especially now, I was telling Christy, I was like, I watched it again today, and I was like, legitimately, Donatello and Michelangelo still make me laugh. And I'm 40 years old in 3 weeks, and their jokes still hit me. So I'm going over 60 seconds. We'll talk about it more, but I love the movie.
Yeah, I've seen this movie quite often as an adult and a child. I'm pretty sure I did not go to the movie theater to see this movie. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I was 9 years old when the movie came out, but I don't recall going to the movie theater. Nonetheless, I do recall as a child somebody telling me that there's no Shredder and there's no Technodrome and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, there's a Shredder.
Well, there's Shredder.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Technodrome, no Krang. I'm sorry, I meant Krang. So they did tell me that, and I remember I was shocked at first, but it was good that they told me that because I had time to adjust. It wasn't like as I was watching the film. I do remember loving this movie as a kid, and I've seen it as an adult many times. My daughter loves this movie. I will say my daughter, just like Jeff, her favorite is part 2. My favorite is part 3. And
I love part 3.
I'm kidding. That movie sucks.
I love it. I love it.
But
we'll talk about it eventually.
I actually have not seen part 3, to be honest with you. If I'm being honest, I have not.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I know. I'm not rushing.
I'm gonna go to bat for that movie. I think both of you are flat out wrong.
I will say this, Mike. It does have the greatest.
I'm not wrong. I can't see it. I haven't seen
part
it. Part
3 has, to me, the best line in any of the trilogy.
Okay. So going back to my
from
part 3, I love this movie. I've seen it as an adult multiple times. The last time was probably about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. And we'll talk about my favorite scene when I get there. The barnyard scenes were never a problem for me. Were never boring to me. To me, what was the part that as a kid that I lagged a little bit, I didn't catch on to the nuances. By nuances, I mean actual fucking exposition of April O'Neil saying there's a crime wave. Like I was just like, get to the fucking turtles, okay, the turtles are here. All right.
At the beginning,
that whole thing about the crime syndicate and the whole, it was just like, don't fucking whatever. Didn't care to see it. But I will say they gave us the turtles rather quickly. They didn't make us wait too long for the turtles to see them.
Yes.
And you heard them curse, which was like unheard of.
Yeah. And I will say, if you listened or watched to the last week's episode of Cop Story, was it Police Story? When I talked about I don't fucking want comedy. Like, this comedy was very well welcomed, very well timed, and it weaved in and out between action, drama, and comedy. I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think this is an actual film. It's not a kid's film. It's not, quote, just a kid's film. I think it's fantastic on multiple levels.
If
the one thing it was missing, I would say, is Vanilla Ice. Other than that,
well, that's
We'll wait for the sequel because you're gonna get all the Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, Rotten Tomato score before we go into it: 41% by critics. That was 54 reviews, and 81% by audience with over 500,000 reviews.
Whoa!
Wow.
I wonder what the Google user review is. Yeah, 83%. Google user review. Wait, did I?
Can we? I will just say that the it's hard to look back, like, because it's hard to remember what was going on but I did go see it. I did go see it in the theater, and I remember seeing.
I did see Double Impact in the theater.
I always joked around, like,
maybe the most inappropriate movie for a child to see in a movie theater. I saw that in the movie theater.
I remember, like, one of the things that I don't think I was thinking about this as an adult watching it, but I don't remember, like, because this is 1990 New York City.
Mm-hmm.
It is very different than just a few years later in New York City. Like, 1990 New York City was still like crack epidemic New York City. Like, it was still super, like, crime ridden.
Crack. The turtles say pizza. There was a
Yes.
pizza epidemic.
There was a pizza epidemic. But I was joking around with a friend of mine where someone was like, a lot of like single girls come to New York to live that Sex in the City life, and I was like, nah, man, I came to live that TMNT life, baby. I want to go live in a sewer. I'm living underground, and I'm gonna eat nothing but pizza. And it was like, I remember seeing that and seeing also Sam Rockwell as a street tough.
Oh my God, so
was
good.
amazing.
We're family.
The leader. The leader.
Yeah, the only guy with speaking lines.
Yeah.
No, his character name on IMDb is Thug Leader.
Yeah, and it was an early thing for him, but like genuinely seeing like what they thought kids wanted, like ramps for their skateboards and inline skates.
That was a dope ass freaking
and who knew that these street toughs knew how to make so many neon signs?
Dude,
they were
they had
artisans.
the games that warehouse. It's a concrete factory that was like taken away, like it was decommissioned in North Carolina. So they filmed it there. That same factory, my friends, was also used in Super Mario Brothers the movie as Dino Hatton.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Also, and it was also Top Dollar. Was it Top Dollar from The Crow? Top Dollar's nightclub.
Oh yeah,
that was also that's what that place was used for. But that place, when I was little, I was like, oh my God, they have arcade. They have this, and they the opening shot when they introduce it, and you see the kids smoking the cigar. The director said that's straight from Pinocchio. They took that from the Island of Lost.
I totally got that too.
That's an exact shot.
Like as a kid watching this movie and seeing that, I thought like New York was going to be a land of joy and fun and like all of these things. But you know what I mean? Like it was like, hey, there's like warehouses where you get to ride your skateboard around and play video games. It looked like a fucking Chuck E. Cheese. And but I thought like I will say like I as an adult watching it now, seeing the non-turtle side of the story, like Tatsu was dope. Like what a OG
100%.
Tatsu was.
100%.
Like go play, have fun. What a fucking badass. And then like
he's that substitute teacher that goes, you know what, guys, no homework.
Yeah, but then
I love this guy. Like he's the best, man.
He brings in the video monitor.
Yeah.
For the
He
VHS.
brings in the TV and puts in a movie, and you're like,
just Ninja Turtles.
No, in the original script, he kills the kid that he beats up towards the end. But the movie review board was like, no. So they had to add breathing in post production so that it's like, oh no, he's just hurt really badly. But the guy's supposed to
when
be
he
dead.
beats the shit out of him. Yeah. Wow.
But
this movie, the vibe of this movie is like so. Looking back on it, it's so much more. It's like Bad Lieutenant. It's like a 90s. It's very much like a 80s cop drama vibe in the way that it looks even. And I was just like looking back on it, and I'm like, fuck, this movie, like from like they really tried to make a fucking movie. Like this was.
And here's the thing, that's the reason why this chick who played April O'Neil, that's the reason she turned down part 2, because they totally, and we'll talk about this when we do part 2, but they totally kidified the franchise. They were like, let's make it lighter. Let's make it.
That's the complete opposite reason why she's not in part 2.
Really? What was the reason? That's what I heard. What was the reason?
So apparently she was a drama queen on the set. And she was complaining that they had 6-day work weeks, 6-day work
shooting weeks,
and she hated all the violence that was in the movie. She said it was way too violent. So they were like, "Well, you're a drama queen, and you're complaining about the violence in a Ninja Turtles movie. You can fly a kite. We're gonna replace you."
Yeah, like what do you want him to do? Like,
didn't even get into a jumpsuit once. So
so at the beginning of the movie, the only compromise, she didn't want to do it. She refused. Because they wanted her in the yellow jumpsuit with the red hair. And she refused to do it. So in the beginning of the movie, when she leaves the news station, she's wearing a bright yellow raincoat.
Yeah.
And that was their little homage to the thing. But she refused to do it. Because they wanted to do it. And
what was she in before the filming of this movie? That
was Halloween Town before or after this?
No. I was just going to say that, like, so I was looking through some of the trivia stuff. And one of my favorite things on here is that Robin Williams, who was a big fan of the franchise, provided Judith Hoag with information regarding her character through his comic book collection. The two were co-starring in Cadillac Man at the time when the Turtles film went into production. So she was in Cadillac Man, but like she genuinely
Yeah,
was.
you know
like,
that's the least famous
Robin Williams movie.
Robin Williams movie.
Yeah.
Man.
That's a deep cut.
But she's not. That's what I'm saying. Like she genuinely. Like I remember watching it, and I liked her. But again, like that's when you.
It was fine. Nothing.
It's fine.
Nothing to
She's
write
good.
home about.
Yeah, and but the idea.
Dear Dad.
She.
Wait till I feel about the actress on set.
I mean, like it's hard to talk about this movie because it's. I've seen it so many. Like I've seen it throughout different stages of my life, and I've picked up different things about it.
It's
each
like
time.
family, and it's like the movie's family, and it's like our dad. I'm sorry, getting stuck in that fucking line from Shredder. He was like, "This is family." I'm like, dude, you're 5'2". Please, please stop.
So I want, since you're mentioning the actresses, I want to mention the voice actors for the movie for the Turtles. Raphael was the only one that the guy who voice acted him also was in the suit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the other three were, one person was in the suit, the other was a voice actor.
Can I ask you a question? Why is Raphael the only one from New York? It seems
that was a choice that the voice actor made, that he said, since he's like the rough Ninja Turtle, he wants to make him a Brooklyn accent. You know.
And what are the other guys? Just regular, just anywhere.
Well, obviously Donatello's Corey Feldman, so we all know that. Leonardo, I didn't know this, and I told Neri this. That Leonardo was Brian Tochi, which was Takashi in Revenge of the Nerds, was the voice of Leonardo.
Oh,
and I did not know that.
I'm looking, and it just has the guy who plays Raphael in the voice. It just has him listed as the voice.
If you look, well, in the trivia, it says that he did both. And each of the actors had a scene in the movie outside of the suit. So like the guy who voices Michelangelo or did Michelangelo, not voice it. Sorry. No, that Raphael's the cat was in the cab. The guy that did Raphael was in the cab. That he's like, you're going to LaGuardia. Michelangelo is the pizza delivery guy at the beginning with the domino, so he delivers to himself with like the best line. You know,
that's still, dude. Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds. Is still like one of my well, because there's a whole heartfelt thing from Donatello right before, like he says that, and like he's not even paying attention. He's got the popsicles.
What do you
think about what Master Splinter said about?
Do you think about that? Where he's gonna be like, he's not gonna be with us forever.
Yeah, he's like, yep.
He's got 30 seconds.
He's like, yep. Time's up. $3 off. But we talk about
the turtles don't tip. The fuck.
The turtles are stingy dippers.
I mean, where's he getting the money?
Or they're just poor.
Yeah, I was like, where's he getting the money?
They're literally robbing the foot. They have to, right? They have to rob the foot soldiers. Does it have to be like Blade, where you rob the fucking bad guys?
Right? Sewer chic.
What do you think? This whole fucking How do you think we pay for all this shit? You think fucking punching bags are free, motherfucker? Like I gotta pay for this shit.
That's why Raphael was so mad about losing a sigh, because he was like, "This is going out of my allowance."
That made me laugh so hard. I could get it back. It's like, whoa, take it easy.
But here's the thing I genuinely didn't realize about this movie when I first saw it is the fact that I didn't put two and two together when I was growing up. The fact that Splinter does mention this, they haven't finished their training, and that they're still, this was their first mission,
right?
Was going out here, and he tells them when he gets back, remember, vanish you leave without a trace. And Raphael's like, "Whoa, excuse me,
yeah,
I left
my bad.
I left a trace.
I left evidence.
I do love that.
I left my fingerprints all over that." Yeah, but you're a fucking turtle. Your
fingerprints gonna be dusty.
Are not going to come back. Yeah. They're not going to be traceable.
Run that through the San Diego Zoo. Also, I know we want to do the regular databases, but also, can you run it through the Bronx?
Oh, run it through Interpol. Run it through the CIA and then the San Diego Zoo, and just see what happens.
And I want to give props to Splinter, because I got definite abuelita energy from him at the beginning, when he's like having the deep conversation with all of them, and Michelangelo's ordering the pizza in the background, and he just goes, "Michelangelo," and grabs the book and just chucks it at his face. And I was like, substitute a chancleta and we're on the same boat, people.
So can I say this? On the topic of Splinter, I felt that they played him too old.
Yeah,
it was I get it that he was there for the wisdom and the sage and the teachings, and that part is perfect. That was done to perfection. The problem that I have is in the cartoon, he fought, like, not all the time, but he fought, right? And then you're thinking, oh yeah, but he's supposed to be an old rat. And here's the thing, decades later, we see Yoda fucking throw down. Yoda, when he doesn't do it often,
right?
And then right after fucking Yoda fuck shit up, he then gets his cane and then fucking. And then fucking
yeah, I mean, but you're talking about an alien that's 900 lives to 900 years, and a rat that what's the lifespan of a rat?
Right, but I'm saying, all I'm saying is, I wish they would have made him more mobile, more agile.
Rats only live a few years. Like they're really not. They don't live long at all. Like a lot of people who like have pet rats know that they die really fast. So it's like a trope in terms of like. I had a friend of mine that had a pet. Yeah, in terms of the rat community, I had a friend of mine who had a pet rat, and he was like, "Oh yeah, but they die." So he's had like many rats, and they all die. But he ages faster than they do.
Stop putting out the fucking rat traps.
Yeah.
Well, I love one of the things is, again, watching this as an adult, is you see all these messages that you don't really catch when you're a kid. And like Splinter,
I didn't even catch there was a fucking crime wave as a kid. Let's be
but like Splinter, the some of the knowledge that Splinter drops, it's just like I'm just there, and like that scene when Danny goes in there, and he's like, fathers always care about their kids.
Yeah, the father son story is the whole point of this movie,
right?
This is a father son relationship movie. This is like October Sky level good of like a father son shit, right?
That just a mention of the title, I'm like,
yeah, that's one of my favorite. Like,
he wasn't my hero.
Yeah,
you were like,
it ain't gonna fly unless someone pushes the button, and then he brings his dad.
Oh my god,
I love that movie. Yes, but this movie is, I would say, on par with the father message. Like, it's
check out our last episode of Father Flicks.
Yeah, Pop Flicks.
yeah.
But you're absolutely right.
There is a hill. There is something that I think the cartoon did correctly that this movie did not, and this is it's a purely opinion, and it's a hill I'm going to die on. Like, you cannot convince me otherwise.
Okay,
it makes more sense for a human who has mastered karate and ninja to turn into a rat than for a rat to have learned it by watching.
100%. But how amazing was the CGI? The little rat, the little rat doing the karate.
I don't know. We had Teen Wolf at this point already. We had American Werewolf in London. They could have just turned a human into a rat. And
is it me or is
no, not very like in live action? We had.
They should have.
They should have absolutely done that. I agree with you.
And it would have explained the accent. It would have explained. You know what I mean? That's another thing. The foot soldiers. If they are recruiting foot soldiers from New York City, then that means that every one of those foot soldiers is doing a bad Japanese accent when they talk in costume.
Well, the foot soldier that slaps the shit out of April,
Mr. O'Neill, he does a bad accent. He's doing a fake accent. He's from New York. He's like New York.
I think it's one of those things where, like, remember when Madonna first moved to Europe, and then like a week later she was like, "Hey, hello, governor.
Yeah, I am from England.
I'm from England," and I think that's what happened. They're like, "I'm being trained by a Japanese guy, and he's my surrogate father, so silence is important."
And what I love about the Turtles is that, because this movie also, one of the key things is it has a lot to do with like dealing with trauma, and even that scene in the farmhouse, you see how, like, April's talking about how each of them handles it differently, and you like Raphael, like like even at the beginning, he's like, you're different from your brothers. You don't use others to help you deal with your anger and deal with this and deal with that. You need to open up and let go, and like, Leonardo with the guilt of how he treated Raphael sitting there next to the terrible tub that they shoved his body into instead of a bed. But
he's a turtle. You got to keep him wet.
Really? But in a tub, you're just going to throw him in a tub. Why do you have to keep him wet? They're not sleeping in water in the sewer.
They had a water bed.
I will say this, like, for being a Kickflix movie, we should talk about how, like, thoroughly, even as an adult now, I'm still thoroughly impressed with the fucking suits that these people had to wear and what they were able to do in those suits.
Absolutely.
Eyes, except for the eyes in the mouth. That scene really.
The only mouth was Donatello.
Nightmare fuel.
Now,
Donatello's mouth was the terrifying one for me out of all of them.
Once you learn where their eye holes are,
I gotta be honest with you.
Can't unsee
I saw that meme. For those of you who don't know, there's a meme of like that freeze frame of that shot where Donatello's laughing, and as he's laughing, is that the puppet's mouth is open, and you can clearly see the actor's eyes.
Yeah.
So it looks like eyes in a mouth. It looks like a scene from fucking Beetlejuice, right? It's creepy as shit. But in the meme, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe whatever, blah, blah. But I had forgotten about that meme. And my wife and I are watching this movie and we see the laughing scene and we see it happen. And my wife and I both catch it again, having completely forgotten about the meme. And we're like, oh my God, I just saw it. That was very terrifying. That was nightmare fuel. Holy shit.
Yeah. But like, and the thing, what I love about this movie though is the amazing amount of one-liners that never get old. Especially like that back and forth with Casey. Casey Jones is the one-liner king in this movie.
Casey Jones is the hero of this movie.
Yeah,
100. I love this character so much.
Your hero absolutely. Other people's is a city's murderer, but sure.
Okay.
Wait. Oh, first of all, how
he
could
didn't kill anybody.
See through the brilliant disguise of a fedora and a trench coat? Like how?
Oh, I know. And that nobody noticed. He went to go watch Critters, and he was like walking through. He was like standing in front of
this stuff.
You. But that fight
like
scene,
a big turtle in a trench coat.
That fight scene between Casey Jones and Raphael at the beginning is like that back and forth with each of them, and just like the one getting one up on the other. Like I loved it. I absolutely love that
when they do the home run 6 to
and he gets up at the 1-0.
Yeah, what made it very weird for me looking back at that scene is right. And again, great lines when he goes cricket, and he goes cricket. You gotta eat crumpets to watch.
You gotta understand what
nobody understands cricket. And then he fucking hits him right. The whole time I'm thinking to myself, "You're a ninja? You're a fucking ninja? Like this guy is not even hiding. He's flat out prepping his swing." He's prepping his fucking swing. He's doing practice swings in front of you. And he's like, I'm just going to keep talking because these jokes are hilarious.
Remember, he hadn't finished his training. He hadn't gone to the cricket bat part of the
What made me laugh is that in my mind, Raph is like a fucking undercover comedian, like stand-up. Because that would be a comedian thing to do where it was like, look, I know you're about to hit me, but I got some killer fucking punchlines. And I'm like, I just got to get these because timing is everything. And if I don't say them now, they won't really make any sense.
It won't make sense.
You gotta know what a crumpet is. Like he's just like that committed to fucking doing the jokes. I think it's fantastic as a fan.
We're talking about the big fight scene where they all invade the apartment and the store and all.
So
I
good.
love that store.
The music was good. The music was fantastic. The whole scene, he goes, "Is that all you got?" And then they fucking come out of the woodwork and he goes, "Good answer."
Good answer.
The best is a fellow chucker.
Oh, my fucking my God.
My favorite line in that whole scene though is when the guys come in with the axes and Donnie and him are like rolling around, and it's like if they a good thing these guys aren't lumberjacks, and Michelangelo's dodging. He's like, you're right, because the only thing safe in the woods would be the trees, as he's dodging all the axes.
But I do love that there's a dude that his job there was just handing out axes.
Yeah,
like they're like, hey, you hang back. Like he sucks, and they're like,
let's go, Barry.
Just
you know what the funny thing is,
Charles.
You know what his training was. You know what his training was. They're like, let's see how you do this hook, and then he just did this shit. He wanted that. He just did like that. Just do the bare minimum, and then they're like, you hand out the axes. But I will say, so I love what I've been incorporating in my exercising is jump roping, right? And whenever I see somebody else at the gym because I bring my own jump rope, I'm that guy. And whenever I see somebody else bring their jump rope, I go, a fellow jumper, huh? Like I in my head every fucking time. I'm like,
But that was
like I do this
Donatello. Guys, I know you got your friends coming in, but structurally speaking, they might not be a bad time for them to come in.
And they all fall through. The fucking guy smashes. Like the choreography of that fight escalates so well. They're chopping the floors. They shoot some sparks and now everything's on fire. It's an antique store. So there's a ton of flammable shit lying around.
Yeah, because the flame like goes in like 2 seconds.
Well,
like
because,
from the breaker.
Yeah, it's a New York City building, so you know that shit's not up to code.
That's true.
And then at a certain point, they're like, "Oh, there's like a hatch here to go down to the basement." Which, before moving here, I would have been like, "What the fuck is that?" No, everything has a basement access. Is all weird. Every building has its weird basement stuff, and and then they all escape, and then Casey Jones is the one, not these trained ninjas.
No.
Casey Jones is the one that like
With
is
the hockey
holding
goalie.
off all of these fucking people, and
With a
then they're all
goalie
like,
stick.
"Come on," like,
Yeah.
and then finally he's like, "Well, I guess we'll go now."
Yeah,
but
I
he's
just
the
love
one
it.
that
Like,
holds them
don't
all up.
worry. Yeah, he's like, I'll hold these guys back, and Leo's like, good idea, and just disappears into the thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, all he has is a goalie stick, and he's just like swinging it like back and forth in a large motion, and that's how he's stopping them.
Well, so they're all fucked up, and that's when it starts the whole farm scene, which now is like some of my favorite performances.
I always liked that scene, even as a kid. You know, one of the things that sticks out to me as a kid was April drawing the turtles.
Yeah,
it was that's a very vivid memory of me enjoying. I'm like, oh, she can draw. Like, I was like, she can draw. Like, well, the art department has somebody that can draw turtles.
Sure, yeah.
But I didn't know that then. I was like, this lady can draw. She can draw the turtles, guys. Like, I was like that guy. I like that big a fan of comic books, and I was like, man, she could probably put some shit together and get a comic book going. She could probably,
and I love
where
that
the comic book in real life comes from. That, oh my god, like, as a kid.
But they I love that they use that as a way to give you a little bit more about the personalities of each of the turtles. Because like she's like, oh, Donnie's found a new friend, and it's him and Casey fixing the pickup truck.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you
the
right now,
alphabet of
some
of
of those
insults.
PG insults hit hard as fuck.
Yeah,
like it starts like they're just like going back through the alphabet with like turd brain or whatever the fuck they were like, just like
gack face and
gack face. And I'm like, bro, if somebody called me a gack face, I'd be so heartbroken. I'd be like, oh my god, I'd be like, ah. Like if someone like PG insults, I think hurt more. If someone's just like, hey, fuck you, I'm like, yeah, fuck you too. But if someone were to call me like, what was it's like that commercial with like your cootie queen and lint liquor and all that stuff. If somebody called me a lint liquor in real life with like genuine heat behind it, I'd be like,
are we going right now?
Yeah, are we going right now?
No, but the only thing with the farmhouse was Casey got a little rapey in the kitchen.
Yes,
that was a great scene too, not the rapey part, but the part that she was like, "Oh, you want a massage?" and he was like, "Turtle wax." I remember as a kid going like, "That's hilarious."
And that was the first time you really saw Ralph,
and it's
like, yeah, and you saw Ralph actually like break from being the bad boy persona because he was like, "Oh, Mikey," like he made like you saw that that he was like, I'm realizing
the brotherhood was on display.
Right.
They also had this is the first training montage we see of them all training together.
Which is why I said Michelangelo was the best fighter, because he was blindfolded fighting the three brothers in the field. He was blind.
Yeah, I don't remember. He was blindfolded. I don't remember.
Yep, he was blindfolded, and the three brothers were going after him, and he was like blocking all their attacks and everything with the nunchucks.
Yeah. Seeing the Shredder on screen in real life for the first time was a big deal.
With the gong,
and it was
summon them.
And it was like when he comes walking out, it's like straight up Darth Vader vibes. Like
the fucking cape,
the music, and the fucking cape, and they
and you see the outline from the back of the helmet with the spikes.
Fire.
Like
so
good,
so like such a cool.
For the Geekmore, if you follow us on Twitter, if you follow the other podcaster, we have the Geekmore podcast, the Mount Geekmore podcast. This is the picture that I have for the
when they're all standing there.
Yeah, they're all standing there in the training sequence. The four of them are standing there, and he's like, "We're ready," and I was like,
"Yeah,
we
need to go back or whatever." Yeah. But that bonfire scene is some of the most beautiful.
The bonfire scene is by far my favorite scene in the movie. I've gotten emotional the last 3 times I've seen it as an adult, and I've gotten emotional. Like,
100%.
When he goes, he's giving the whole speech, and then he just goes, "I love you all, my sons." It's like good fucking, and I have like a good relationship with my dad. Like I have a good father. Like I don't need that from a movie, but it's still like delivered. I was like, oh my god, because I like every time I come back to, I catch something different. And this last viewing really hit me how like the father-son relationships in this movie, and because I'd never really gotten like April's boss and his son. Like I was like, yeah, he's just a bad kid or whatever. But then I never connected that it was also
Jeff's favorite character.
the boy that steals everything.
Yeah.
That stole.
I hate Danny so much.
Okay.
With this, oh, I'm a rebel. All I'm wearing is Sid Vicious shirts the whole movie. Fuck you, bro.
I mean, I kind of
he's the original douchebag. He's the original fucking poser.
I like the Sex Pistols. Oh yeah, name me a song. Fuck you, Danny.
That's I'm gonna tell you right now. Your take where you demand someone say their favorite song because they're wearing a t-shirt is such a worse take. It's such a worse person to be around than someone who's like, well, I just like the
but
shirt.
it's you know what it is. Here's why I understand Jeff's rage here, because he's saying, oh, I'm fucking rebelling against what? A father that cares about you, a fucking a family of good means. Like what are you rebelling against? What are you? Oh, I fucking listen to Sid Vicious and I fucking rebel against the man. What are you talking about? Like
I don't know.
You know what I mean? It's not like your dad abandoned you, your fucking life beat you up, you're fucking, you're an addict, you're broke, you're living on the street. Like what? None of that shit is. Why are you?
What I understood is that he's a workaholic father that is absent, and then when he only makes himself known as the kid acts out, to be the disciplinarian, so the kid continues to act out to get that reverse attention, like that, whatever. But that's a very common thing. But also like the clubhouse or whatever, that fucking warehouse thing, that there was genuine crossover with like hip hop, rap, punk.
Yeah.
Like it was like literally all of the genres, all of the type of like kids that would be involved there. They're all represented. And the thing is that I see that as a draw, especially if you're like a kid who does maybe like an absentee parent or something like that. Like that totally that didn't break reality for me, because I know plenty of well-off dudes that are dicks to their parents.
We're also watching Turtles.
Yeah, we're watching a movie, but also like I've seen that
breaking
before.
reality. It's like, wait a minute, Sid Vicious shirts, get the fuck out! Like,
Also, why? What is that? What about Sid? Like, sure, Sid Vicious shirt, whatever. He's a punk kid who probably wears the same. Like how many times?
No, but he had different shirts. But they were all Sid Vicious.
Is she sleeping next to you? No,
this is I live in New York in a studio apartment. I gotta be respectful.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
So I've never heard you so quiet. You're like, awesome. What's it? Like, I was like,
by the way,
I'm trying not to yell. I'm trying not to yell, and I'm trying to talk into the microphone so I don't have to yell. But yeah,
right.
But so after they leave the farmhouse, I don't know if you guys caught this, but like Casey Jones says kind of a fucked up line when they get back into the city, and they're like, before they go into the sewers, like actually it wasn't Casey, it was one of the turtles. They climb out of the pickup truck, and he goes, I went back and wrote it down exactly. Now I know how it feels to travel without a green card. When they jump out of the back of the pickup truck,
they were crossing the border,
and they were hidden in the pickup truck to get in. And
that's why they don't call them La Tortuga.
Yeah.
And then a few moments later, when they're in the sewers, and Casey's freaking out about being in the sewer, and Donatello calls him claustrophobic, and he goes, "I've never looked at another man."
Yes, that was. I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, like, that's not even that like homophobic. Like it's just like he's dumb.
Yeah,
like he just doesn't know
he's just an idiot.
Like,
and then he goes up there. Yeah. But I was like, the green card thing. I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah, whatever. It's kind of a commentary on immigration policies of the 1990.
And that's what they did it.
Yeah, Casey Jones has the strongest weapons in like Mjolnir strong weapon. Like none of his shit ever breaks, and he's got like a golf club. Remember? So in the next, like as they go invading the warehouse and they try to find, like Splinter.
Yeah, he follows Danny.
Yeah. He follows Danny and he finds the place, and then they go get Splinter back. I think.
He went to go. He had because they were going to kill Splinter because they found out that because Shredder had his metal. Yeah. He had his metal detector on his claws that he was able to find the picture hidden in the back of Danny's. That he was like, "You're hiding something," and he goes, "Beep, beep, beep, beep." Oh, there it is. Here's the picture of Leonardo.
That was the drawing. But I do like when they go rescue. So then they all start like following Danny back and doing all that stuff. And then when they find Splinter, and then it's all those kids that are around like, "Hey, we gotta get him. We gotta get him because of father or whatever, master." And then Splinter starts talking, and he gives like a powerful speech, and it's like, "Hey, everybody, this talking rat is right." we should do what this like they didn't know he was there, or were they like did they all just accept that it's like talking rats exist, giant talking rats exist, and we should he's very smart and wise, we should listen to him. I did think that was really funny where all of a sudden the tables turned really quick.
Well, they knew because Danny was like, when he went and found him, he goes, "Oh, it's true, you do talk."
Yes.
So I'm
rumors,
sure there was rumors rumbling around about the fact that he was.
Can you
there.
imagine that rumor? It's like, yeah, they're hiding a talking rat. Get the fuck out of here!
Oh, cool. I'm fucking leaving.
Yeah,
I like they like.
Yeah,
they
look, I like Walkmans too, but there's not one dick.
They like
is this Scientology? What the fuck is going on?
They pan to the right a little bit more than the shot, and to keep their PG rating. But if you pan just a little bit to the right, there's like they're doing like lines of blow and dropping acid and fucking doing mushrooms and smoking. Like they're all high
God,
in
man.
their fucking mind.
I swear to God, fucking talking rat. I'm telling you right now.
The pupils blown out. Like, yeah, man, I saw a rat. It talked to me about the universe, bro.
It made me realize that I miss my father.
Yeah. I really should talk to my kid.
The reason I do this is to get attention from my workaholic father. That's
that's why I do this, man. The big rat told me. Like,
you know, it's great. You just slightly sounded like Mark Wahlberg there. So it's like, yeah, man, I totally do this.
Something in the trees.
I'm gonna do this because this rat told me. Hey, rat, say hi to your mother for me. Like,
all right, let's do our.
Oh wait! Before you do it, last thing. Let's talk about the last fight.
Yes,
we haven't talked about the last fight scene.
Yeah,
the rooftop. The reveal of Shredder to the turtles. That's the first time they really interact.
Yeah,
in the whole movie, and then they fight the only time, and then Raphael jumps in aggressively, and then they all follow the same thing. And I love when they're fighting individually, like they don't do it all together. They don't fight together. At one point they go like,
yeah,
yeah, because they go one by one, and it's Donatello and Michelangelo.
Yeah. What I like about that is the fact that Leo got a hit off of him.
Yes.
He
actually slashed somebody with a sword.
He's the only one that fucking got a hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so we know who the best fighter is. It's the only one who landed a fucking hit on Shredder.
Also, if Leonardo actually used his swords like swords in this movie,
that's what I was
limbs would have been flying off. It would have been a different ove.
Or use his sword anywhere. Because even in part 2, he like throws him in the roof. Like he's like, I'm gonna fight you guys. Nope.
It would be a Deadpool movie.
Yes, that was my one gripe always with Leonardo, is that he never used his swords like swords.
Yeah, but you can't. It's just not his fault. That's a PG.
But they don't give him swords.
He wanted to. No, but he wanted to use them. But the fucking the censor board was like, hey.
But here's where the subtlety and the brilliance of the writing is, though. You mentioned about them going one on one with each other, like going after him one on one. When Leo goes after him after he says, "Oh, the rat." Yeah, he has a name, and then he's like, he had a name, which is like gangster ass line that he tells him.
Super
Leo
dumb,
comes at him, he flips him, puts the spike to his neck, and he goes, "You're fools. Together, you guys would have been able to take me down with only the sacrifice of one, but you guys have decided to come at me one on one instead of working together." Which is
the Shredder is the best fighter.
You keep going back, and it keeps going back to that thing where they're new training. They just finished their training. They're nowhere near this level.
That was a dumb move by the Shredder. Like, I will tell you the secret to my we're here. That's that moment in Men of Steel when Kal-El's like, I had a lifetime of honing my powers. So and he's like, don't tell the bad guy how to fucking win.
Well, yeah, but they had thrown their weapons.
But the bad guy's vamping. He's just like,
but they threw their weapons before he said that, though. Because he goes, weapons. And then after they threw him, he's like, you fools. Blah, 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 blah. You know?
Well,
and then Splinter.
And then Splinter. No, I will say that the stakes during that fight felt very high. Like they felt good, and they escalated like that. That's a great example of like fight choreography amping up the fight cinematography, because at a certain point you can see they start shooting closer and closer, like the shots are closer and closer, and everything's much more like frenetic. And I remember I was sitting here watching this thing, and I was like, man, this is good. Like I was just like, and I was like, this is great, you know. Like the stakes were good, and the emotions, like he said, he had a name, and you see Leo, which is the calm one, finally get angry, and then you see whatever it was just super well done fight choreography. And even if it's not the best actual fighting, it looked like everything was important. These are
Correct.
turtles fighting a guy with, a fucking Shredder helmet. Like it's Ninja Turtles versus Shredder. It's just like this crazy idea, but the whole time you're watching it, like feeling it escalate and escalate and escalate, and then finally there's the flip and the fucking hanging off the side of the building, and then because he couldn't take defeat and he didn't want to give up, he throws a thing. Splinter catches it, and then
So that's my one meh about it would be the way he was defeated. Again, I just wanted Splinter to fucking actually fight. That, you know what I mean? Show me, you know what I mean? You should, okay. It's like
it wouldn't have made sense because he's so old. The
that's
character,
what I'm saying. That's my gripe with the whole thing. Is like you made him too old. I get it. He's supposed to be wise and old and wise, but
he's wise. You die without armor.
Also, remember that Splinter in this wasn't a person in a suit; it was a puppet. So it wasn't it was a puppeteer that was controlling him.
Yeah,
so they're limited on what they can do.
But they made 4 other suits, right? You can make a fucking rat suit, right?
Yeah, but do you realize how big those? But do you realize how big the turtle suits were? Because of all the fucking electrical stuff they had to put in there.
All of a sudden, Splinter hulks out of his.
Yeah. He looks like fucking Rocksteady now, like.
And then when all of that shit happens, Casey Jones commits full-blown homicide.
Yes,
and then
attempted homicide, at least.
Attempted,
yeah. And then immediately they go back to the opening joke of them bossa nova, Chevy Nova, and then they like, I have always enjoyed Cowabunga, and he's the one that tells them the big Cowabunga that comes in, they all high five, and it's like yeah, victory, yes, like it's just like such a solid
murder.
I made another funny. I made a funny.
I made a funny. Yeah, this movie's great. I love it. It's such a good movie, and as a not even as a genre movie, like this is an enjoyable movie with lessons, and like yeah, it's great.
What are your?
I'm gonna watch it with my dad.
What are your reviews? What's your score?
This is high up there. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars and an 8 out of 5.
By the way, it took me like maybe five years ago to realize that the 1-8 thing that's a New York thing. You guys, your addresses are fucking weird like that.
They're all weird like that. But 120, the 8 is very funny to New York because it's like, oh yeah, because it's and the fact that it's in the ground. Is
but in watching it, as a child, I didn't know that about New York City. Not living in New York City, I was like, an 8. That would be your first fucking sign that it's a fake address. But no, New York, that's the thing. Like,
4 stars and an 8 out of 5. You got fuck, man. I had a whole better thing. Never mind. It's 4.4 4 and an 8 stars.
4 and an 8 stars. Just stars. You're just gonna go with stars and that one.
Just stars.
I had a better one, but I stumbled over it. Now I'm saying.
You want to go ahead and do it again? You're gonna do it again.
Fine. I am going to give it 4 Little Tokyos out of 5 because I've lived here for 8 years and I've not ever heard of a Little Tokyo in my whole fucking life. That does not exist here.
Wouldn't it be weird if somebody was like, you've never gone to Little Tokyo? Like somebody was like, what? There's like an actual Little Tokyo. And you're like, what the fuck? Jeff, what's your review? What's your?
I'm gonna give it 4.5 missing size out of 5. I adore the movie. I think it's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of deep messages. Now, like I said, as an adult, I'm realizing it. A lot of how to deal with depression, how to deal, the coping, like all these things that before I just saw 4 turtles making funny jokes and fighting things, and now I see it for a way deeper movie than what what I saw it when it was little. Not even what it actually is, because it was that before. I just didn't appreciate it that way. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 missing size.
Yeah, I'm going 5, bro. I'm going 5 out of 5 dads. I think that it's phenomenal. I love this movie unironically. I've been saying this for years. I'm like, this movie is really fucking good. And it's really good. Like we'll talk about part 2 when we get there, but as much as I like part 2, it's a damn shame they didn't follow the same thematic.
I take mine back. I give mine 5 dams out of 5.
You know what? I'm gonna go 5 also then.
Yeah. No, I
Is
take
it
it
the
back.
first
You're right.
perfect score? Is it the first
It
perfect
might
score?
be. It might be the first perfect score. It might be. You convinced me. Like,
I'm gonna do 5 out of 5 Sid Vicious shirts.
I'm gonna do 5 out of 5 stoner Walkmans whose father is too busy to even fucking ask him, hey, where did you get that fucking Walkman?
I'm gonna do it 5 out of 5 Michelangelo's hiding under kitchen tables.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 5 out of 5 cricket bats.
Or crumpets. I would have
what a
accepted
great-
crumpets.
Yeah, crumpets. All right, let's
We gotta
go
spin the wheel.
Let's go spin the wheel
There we
to
go.
find out what movie we're gonna watch next time. For those of you who are listening, make sure you check out our Facebook and our YouTube, and also know that you could suggest movies to put on the list. And you put that at kickflixpod@gmail.com. That's kickflixpod@gmail.com. On the list right now currently is 50. We have an even 50 movies on the list. So let's go ahead and spin that wheel.
Is TMNT? Did you add TMNT too?
Yeah.
To it? Okay.
Red Belt.
Oh wow, Red Belt. Okay.
Red Belt.
What is
Belt.
Red Belt?
That's what Chip Away
Whose
Edgy
pick is
for,
this?
right?
Yeah. So Chip
That's
Away.
Neri's pick.
Yeah, Chip Away Edgy for you know who's in this movie?
It's a
Tim
judo
Allen.
flick.
It's a judo flick. Tim Allen's in this movie. It's a judo /
Allen.
MMA / UFC / it's a very dramatic role. Like you're gonna
David Mamet?
Yeah.
What?
Tim Allen's in this movie.
By the way, Tim Allen's
said
in
Tim
this
Allen
movie.
twice. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but Tim Allen's in this movie. The Santa Claus.
It's a martial arts movie. So and it's an actual drama. So I don't expect the fucking guy from Tool Time to be this fucking movie. So it always throws me off. You go, wow, this guy's in this fucking movie. And he plays it well. He plays a douchebag very well.
But he wrote what? David Mamet?
Yeah.
Glenn Ross, David Mamet? This is wild.
No, the other David Mamet.
Fucking A. I had no
David
idea we
Mamet
get
is
Oscar winners and Oscar or whatever the fuck in Kickflix. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, you're gonna see there's like I think 2. We'll talk about this in a moment.
Is it on the family share?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, make sure you guys check out Kickflix Pod on all social media outlets. Everything is at Kickflix Pod. It's like Netflix but with a kick. And make sure to check out geekbro.net. Check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network that include but are not limited to Pero Let Me Tell You, the Mount Geekmore podcast, Cramocopia, which is Jeff's podcast about true crime with our friend Q. Check out Shiver, the horror movie podcast, and then the What's Up Bro podcast, which is in its 10th year of on the air. Mike, myself, and our friend Missy and Stephanie join us. So make sure you guys check that out. Thank you guys for checking us out. Shout out to Rookie, who not only went to a show a couple weeks ago of mine, he went there rocking the cupcake shirt, which is fantastic. I've never actually had people rocking my shirt when they went to a show of mine.
He wore the shirt of the band that he's going to see,
which is fantastic.
He was that guy.
He was that guy.
So make sure you guys check us out. Go to Kickflix Pod on everything social media and geekbro.net. We are, for the audio listeners, we are on YouTube and Facebook. On YouTube, we are at Geek Bro. And on Facebook, everything is Kickflix Pod. So thank you guys for checking us out. And that's our Kicks Are Made.
I love being a turtle. I'm gonna put my head in my body.
Scream, but he's got to.
I gotta be quiet because someone's sleeping.